Hello, my name is Caleb Smith with the Rocket Miner newspaper, here with your news update for June 10th, 2020. Starting with some breaking news. A man wanted for several alleged felonies, said to be be at large following a police chase. It's interesting sometimes how news comes to the news department. Not quite an hour ago, I received a call from a member of the public saying, "Do you know what the don't pick up hitchhikers, law enforcement flash on the Y dot signs mean?" And I'm like, I don't know anything presently. I will let you know if something pops up. And just a few minutes later, we got a combined press release from the Wyoming Department of Transportation and Sweetwater County Sheriff's Office. It notes that members of the Sheriff's Office, Wyoming Highway Patrol, Green River Police Department, and Rock Springs Police Department are looking for a wanted man who fled on foot on the Old Lincoln Highway on the north side of Interstate 80. According to a press release, sheriff deputies made contact with Darren Carson Calvin, a known wanted person, near Foothill Boulevard around 3 p.m. on Wednesday. Law enforcement notes that there was a brief altercation with law enforcement, and then Calvin allegedly fled in a maroon Ford truck westbound on Foothill on the service road. Many of us have traveled that one. He was pursued by law enforcement, and then after the man turned onto Purple Sage Road, made his way to the Old Lincoln Highway, north of the I-80, heading westbound on the dirt road, where his vehicle became disabled. He allegedly abandoned it and fled on foot. It's presumed to be north of what would be milepost 95 on Interstate 80. And as of this recording, it's to our knowledge that officers have yet to locate Calvin. The Sweetwater County Sheriff's Department warns people to be on the alert for this man and to not pick up hitchhikers in the area. Quoting Sweetwater County Sheriff's Deputy and Public Information Officer, Jason Maurer, "He is possibly armed and dangerous. If you see him, do not approach him. Just call 911 or your local authorities." We have his mug photo on our Facebook and social media pages. He is described as wearing a blue shirt and shorts, standing 6'1", weighing about 240 pounds, and has tattoo around both eyes. He apparently has presented false identification with the name as Aiden Calvin. Calvin is said to be wanted for violent felony warrants out of the United Police Department of Greater Salt Lake, which include aggravated robbery and assault on a prisoner. Just because of the speed of breaking news, I'm hopeful that this will be rendered moot by the time we upload it. Be watching for updates, because if we learn that police have apprehended him, we will try to spread the good news as much as possible. The story that I'd planned on making the main news of the day before Mr. Calvin made things more interesting is that Governor Gordon's going to be visiting Rock Springs and Green River Thursday and Friday. The plan is for him to meet with community leaders, elected officials, and representatives of industry, recreation, grazing, conservation, and sportsman groups. The trip will take place on Thursday and Friday and will allow the governor to get a first-hand look at resource and economic development issues in the region. Those of you who have been following some developments with the Bureau of Land Management, it's been preparing Rock Springs' resource management plan for some time. We've had more than one letter to the editor encouraging multiple things. One, that the Bureau of Land Management take the time to make sure that there could be additional public comment. With all this distancing that's still being encouraged in light of COVID-19, they want to make sure that this isn't something that's rushed. They want to have as much time to get practical first-hand accounts and opinions. There are also those who are stressing that some areas deserve more consideration than others, especially when it comes to conservation. It's noted that during the trip, the governor plans to tour the Red Desert and Greater Little Mountain areas, as well as view existing energy and mineral development projects in the region. Quoting the governor from the press release, "I'm looking forward to this visit," Gordon said. "It will allow me to not only speak directly with a wide range of stakeholders, but also to see firsthand how this RMP revision, Resource Management Plan, will affect some of Wyoming's most important public lands and industries." The press release concludes with a note saying that in an effort to minimize person-to-person interactions and reduce the risk of COVID-19 transmission, that's the small group meetings with Governor Gordon or by invitation only. It also notes that this is the governor's first official multi-day trip since the coronavirus pandemic began in March, or at least when it comes to our corner of the world. One other local development happened today is that Sweetwater County officials had an impromptu meeting with some local media outlets, talking about communicating messages and details going forward. One of the things that more than one person noted was that a lot of people are starting to tune out warnings about COVID-19, if not in some cases flagrantly being an obstacle when it comes to some of the contact tracing. There have been some anecdotes of people who tested positive for the virus, and when that happens, they go down a list to see where they've been, who they've had contact with, especially those, where have you had prolonged contact with, individuals that maybe you're in a tight and closed space like this for at least 10 minutes, if not more. Not necessarily what drive-through you went through or what checkout lines, but like I said, prolonged, sustained contact in areas that would be more akin to transmission. And some people are open and cooperative with those trying to do this tracing, and there have been those who are refusing. And that's the type of thing that makes it harder to track it and contain the virus. One of the other issues that pops up is crisis fatigue, or I've also seen chaos fatigue, where this has been a very unique time in American history, world history, where it's not just a short-term thing, it's been one thing after another. You've probably seen those internet memes talking about January fires, February this, March COVID, murder hornets, which I'm thankful turned out to be a bust. Fun to say, probably not going to make my top 10 concerns for the year. But it's one thing after another, especially combined with the frustration of the impact of prolonged distancing, reduced human contact with one another. That will have a contact with your head. In addition to current unrest, sometimes it was pushbacks to some of the stay-at-home orders or lockdown provisions or guidelines. Some of it's been in response to visions of police brutality and additional unrest that we're seeing. And there's still part of me going like, we're not even at the halfway point of the year. When you look at psychology, body chemistry, just the way physiology, the way we're built, it's one thing to be able to deal with a short-term emergency. Blood gets pumping, adrenaline gets surging. It is a completely different experience to just be having something that's prolonged and strained, and especially in this case where I can't tell you when this will all be over. I can make up a calendar countdown, but I can't with all confidence say that it would be accurate. Anybody who tries to sell you that, beware of those people. And you don't want to be, even if there is this prolonged threat, you need to balance what do you do to make sure you get your message across. And as part of that, in recognition that the public is feeling overwhelmed, oversaturated, over it, the county has made the decision that they're going to no longer do a press release update every time that there is a confirmed coronavirus case in Sweetwater County. It was noted that our slice of Wyoming was one of the few places that was still doing so. They're leaving the door open that should there be a major development that the Department of Health, Community Nursing, Sheriff's Office, and the other Memorial Hospital, the other entities that continue to stay on top of this, keep an eye on things. That if there's such as a large number of cases reported within a 24-hour period, or some other serious developments, that they will give us more details. Otherwise, we're directed to be keeping an eye on the Wyoming Department of Health website, which you've heard us talking about, and certainly others. The idea is that they want, when there is a major development, they want you to pay attention. They don't want you to have gotten to the point where you're ignoring them. The danger's still present, and pretending it's not there won't make it go away. But it's, like I said, it's more than one agency. Both, like I said, the county officials, we have the Rocket Miner, everybody's trying to find their personal balancing point of where they put the emphasis, what they want to, how they want to engage with you, and just what we lead with, what we include, just so that you're staying with us. There are lots of different ways of doing it. We're going to try this for a while. As is the county and others across the world. That all said, those of us in the meeting did get one more note that Sweetwater County's confirmed cases rose to 27. The most latest test-confirmed case was a Rock Springs woman in her 60s. She's reported to be in good condition, isolating at home. Initial contact tracing indicates that she's related to cases 23 and 24. And that might be the last specific update. I do like how the Wyoming Department of Health's website's a good repository of information, but we won't necessarily be getting these short bios, which, like I said, keeping people's privacy, but giving people enough information to just have a better idea of the, I think of it as the silhouette of the person, without being so specific that you know who they are. Right now, according to the Wyoming Department of Health website, like I said, 27 confirmed cases in Sweetwater County, 8 probable cases. The overall total is 768 lab-confirmed cases, 212 probable cases in Wyoming, and 18 COVID-19 related deaths. At the national level, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention website, let me scroll up the page, our total cases are now at 1,973,797 cases, which is 17,376 new cases compared to yesterday. Personally, I'd expect we're going to be past 2 million cases by the end of the week. Hope I'm wrong. Total deaths now sits at 112,133 people, which is 950 new deaths compared to yesterday. The overall total sits at 7,350,698, according to Johns Hopkins University, with global deaths sitting at 415,277 people. And the recovery total is at 3,447,918. We've got a ways to go. It's trying for every one of us. And like I said, I wish we could just go back to exactly how things were before, not change a thing, go back to habits that are comforting and frankly very missed. But that's not going to do the trick. The advice hasn't changed. We know that it still takes that for the best chance to limit the spread is to keep our distance, wash our hands, don't touch your face, limit visits, stay at least 6 feet away. If you're sick, stay home from work. And by this point, it's especially those of you who have watched this deep into the video, you know all these steps. We're not telling anything new. Honestly, most people seems to have picked one side or another with what standards they're picking for themselves. The thing I keep coming back to is just wherever you can, look for opportunities to be kind. Whether that's just listening to a person, whether that's giving them what encouragement you can. I don't believe in false hope, but I still believe in just telling people that there are people who care about them. There are people who are there to be a support. There are people who want a better world. And despite all the darkness and all the hate and anger and destruction we see around us, that those people will still keep doing what they can to make things brighter, make things better. We can all do that, do our part too. I encourage you to do so. That's what I'm trying to do myself. I'm Caleb Smith with the Rocket Miner newspaper, wishing you a good day and a safe tomorrow.